advisor, principal advisor at Equatic. He's with me from Vienna. Thank you, sir. Now, this is not carbon capture. This is carbon renewal, and it turns into some sort of seashell, I believe. But what do you do with it then?
Thanks for having me. So actually, Equatic uses seawater electrolysis, as you said, to capture CO2 directly from the atmosphere and store it as mineral carbonates in the sea. So the CO2 ends up as calcium carbonate and basically bicarbonates that are stable and will permanently stay in the sea, and at the same time will produce hydrogen as a clean fuel.
Right. So, I mean, what does it look like once it's been created? A piece of rock, a brick?
So the calcium carbonate is a powder, basically. It's not really used for anything. The main product is really to remove the CO2 from the atmosphere. The tangible product that is then used further is the carbon negative hydrogen that can be used as a clean fuel.
How easy will it be to do this to scale? Because there's never any shortage of great ideas, but it's getting them to scale at a price that people will, or the market will pay, that's been the problem in so many cases.
Yeah, I think this technology has a big advantage in terms of scalability and cost. So because we are producing basically the carbon dioxide removal credit, at the same time, the hydrogen on the same equipment with the same OPEX, same CAPEX, same investment, we're able to do this at very low cost. And this is one of the requirements to actually bring this to scale.
Right.
I think another advantage is that we're not reliant on geological storage. The sea is everywhere, so this can literally be done anywhere where there is the sea, where there's a sea connection and access to renewable power.
I mean, it's an elaborate, and I'm not sort of demeaning it, because it's any step is the right step, but this is an elaborate version of carbon offset in the sense that it's allowing somebody else to, it's removing carbon that somebody else elsewhere is creating.
So the topic is complicated. The world is facing enormous challenges to reach the climate goals. And we need to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by something like 90% versus today's level. But the UN, via the IPCC report, clearly states that this just will not be sufficient. We need to actively remove gigatons of CO2 from the atmosphere.
Right, but the fact here, of course, is it's aviation, and look, I've been a major. I mean, I think the airlines and the aviation's done a terrible job of pointing out it's 2% of global emissions, which is a relatively small amount compared to the others, but it has to go further if it's to meet its net zero commitment by 2050. So how far does this take that along that road?
Yeah, so this solution is not done for aviation only. I mean, Boeing is our first client, and we're very happy about that. That catalyzes the technology, that creates more confidence in the scalability for investors and partners to build the plants. Ultimately, I mean, no one technology will solve the whole climate problem, so we'll need many different technologies. But this one, I'm pretty convinced that this can remove up to, I mean, with our own company, millions of tons of CO2 from the atmosphere in the late 2020s. And this is the first brick to develop this further and adopt it in a much broader and wider way to scale it up to the gigaton scale that is needed to make a real difference for climate.
I'm grateful, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate